Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome to another MAMJ Let's Play of Quartz Party Blood Drive. When we left off, we started the extra chapter 4, and it actually had a save point, so I went ahead and saved it, and now we're going to continue that extra chapter. So, we will be able to do the actual story chapter in the next episode, because I do fully intend on finishing this extra chapter in this video. Alright, so let's see what happens now that we had the fun little quirky, everybody gets possessed by the sweets-eating little demon girl, or ghost girl, I guess. She wasn't really a demon. That's mean of me to say. We pushed open the heavy doors and heard the clinking and clambering of a very unique door chime as we stepped across the threshold. A server quickly came and took Aiko's reservation ticket, then guided us to our seats. Inumaru began sucking on some candy while we waited to help stave off his insatiable hunger. Okay, so he's still possessed by this, huh? When our menus arrived, he opened his in record time and began salivating. The dessert menu, which represented the majority of this cafe's famous offerings, was filled with items that aroused our appetites. That sounds delicious. Okay, they're gonna make me hungry. Yeah, seriously, stop. I'm pretty sure Inumaru can eat all of them. That's true. Well, that was quick. Sayaka and I were still deciding, but Aiko flagged down the server anyway. He was an elderly man with a very professional, very respectful disposition, and strangely, I kind of felt like I recognized him. Waldo? Inumaru, you're gonna have to pay for all that. He's like, okay.
だってもうとにかく食べまくらないと餓死しそうなくらいお腹が減ったんだよ。あ、そう。他にご注文はございますか。なほたん決めた？あ、それじゃあカモミールティーとバナナオムレット。私はキイチゴのシフォンケーキとピーチティーで。
They all sound good.
かしこまりました。少々お待ちくださいませ。
Bye, Waldo. Don't get lost. Where have you seen him before? The server swiftly took his leave as I tilted my head, trying desperately to place him. This wasn't just someone I met once or twice, but numerous times. Yet, for the life of me, I couldn't figure out where, or under what circumstances. I posed the question to the table as a whole, but Sayaka and Inumaru just flashed me a strange look. Inumaru, seriously, you've got a memory problem then. Aiko? I followed Aiko's finger with my eyes, and found myself face to face with a young girl wearing a Lolita-style dress, decorated liberally with ribbons. Oh, Magari! Konnichiwa. Saenoki-san to yukai na nakamatachi? Mizuki, Magari-san. She studied our reactions for a moment, then got up from her chair and approached me. Mizuki had recently transferred to our class, though no one really knew much about her. She's crazy. Her features were doll-like, with perfect skin completed by the adorable outfit. She was cheek-pinchingly cute at first glance, but beneath the surface, she was ruthless and cruel. Their butler works here? さすがね、にはあいこ。バルドのことまで知ってるなんて、すごいすごい。 She cackled and pulled over a chair from a nearby table. And suddenly, she was now sitting with us, like we were old friends catching up.
どういうこと
So does she own this
なぜあな
place?
たがここにだってここ
Ah,
私
there
の
we
店
go.
だもの嘘私嘘なんてつかないよ今のところはねアイコ知っていて連れてきたわね
I gave her the stinkiest stink eye I could manage, but she just shrugged her shoulders nonchalantly.
知ってたわ何を企んでいるの何も企んでなんていなくてよ嘘をつかないでここがあの子の店だと知っていたらわざわざ来たりなんかあらだってカフェホルタースのオーナーについてなんて誰も聞かなかったじゃない
It's true. I mean, she's not wrong.
そんなの聞かなくたって言ってくださいよ
Sayaka puffed up her cheeks and stared at Aiko.
まあ今のところ誰よりも関わりたくない子よね水木さんは
I'd previously found myself butting heads with Mizuki over supernatural matters, and naturally, Sayaka had gotten pulled into the fray as well. But strangely, so had Aiko. Yet now, all of a sudden, Aiko had invited us to a cafe owned by Mizuki, which suggested to me that she had some nefarious plan in mind.
カフェのオーナーなんて水木さんはお金持ちなんだね
Inumaru, naturally again, was the only one of us totally out of the loop about her. He thought nothing of making small talk with someone he, presumably, saw only as a classmate.
別にこれくらい普通でしょうっていうかあなた誰だっけ
犬丸春之さやかの前世からの恋人だと覚えてくれれば問題ないよ
Oh, Inumaru.
前世からの
そう前世からのなんせさやかと俺の小指は赤い糸でぐるぐるにつながっているんだ
あなた面白い
She's like, I'll cut it with my scythe.
水木さんこの犬ころは虚言癖の塊だから全スルー推奨で彼本当のこと言ってると思う私が言うんだから間違いない
Mizuki smiled brightly. It was hard to tell whether she was serious or just trying to mess with Sayaka. The look in her eyes was plainly that of an evil mastermind, yet her smile was absolutely perfect and beautiful in every way, which somehow made it all the more
と
unsettling.
ころでなぜあなたは勝手に同席しているのだって私もみんなとお友達になりたいもん私たちにあんなことをしておいてよくもそんな
What did she do? What actually happened?
やだ私だけ仲間外れなのクラスメートなのにそういうのっていじめって言うんでしょひどいな
Like she could say anything about bullying.
そういうつもりじゃなくてただ私はつもりじゃないってことは悪意なきいじめなのやだそっちのがよっぽどタッチ悪いさやかってそんな子だっけ
Pretty sure you're doing some bullying of your own, Magari. Sayaka's cheeks swelled up, bit by bit. They almost looked like you could prick them with a pin and they'd pop wide open.
さやかこらえてでもなほた
Her eyes.
私も彼女はいけすかないから気持ちはわかるけれど彼女はあなたたちのクラスメートなのよねそれならあんまり邪険にしてはかわいそうよ愛子さんは話がわかるみたいね愛子あなたどっちの味方なの
She's planning something. She
そんな
wants
の決ま
something.
っているでしょ愚問だわ私はより私のためになりそうな事柄の味方よマガリさんと仲良くしておけば霊具関係の話が聞けるかもしれないでしょ何より誰かを仲間外れにして飲むお茶はあまり美味しくないでしょうしねそうそう愛子さんの言う通り
なんでみんなそんなに仲が悪そうなんだい
Inumaru was clueless, and it would take far too long to explain the situation to him. so I figured it was easier to just ignore him completely. I looked everyone else square in the eye for a second though, ultimately settling on Sayaka. She was in tears.
さやかが泣くほど嫌がっているなら答えは一つよね。やっぱり水木さんには遠慮してもらう。オーナーのお願いを断るってことはさ、バナナオムレットはいらないってことでファイナルアンサーって意味になるのよ。さやかにシフォンケーキ食べさせてあげない。いいの
Oh, Sayaka.
ついでに他の2人が注文したものも全部キャンセル。
ねえ、でもこんなにお腹が空いてるのに。
そんなの知らない。腹ペコなら外でチープなジャンクフードでも詰め込めばいいじゃん。
We need the ghost to go to Magari. I know that she's too strong and it would work, but it would be nice. I didn't want this to be confrontational, but I didn't see that I had much choice. Besides which, it really was a dick move. We came all the way here, but because we weren't sucking up to the owner, we had to leave without eating anything. That's just unprofessional. It shouldn't have even been an option.
わかった。あなたの同席は許してもいい
Look
け
at
れど。
Naho taking the high road.
本当？ただし条件があるわ。
I wanted to eat these supposedly legendary sweets, but Sayaka was too near and dear to me to just let this go on Mizuki's terms. So I decided to do some
あ
bargaining.
なたが私たちの神経を魚でするようなおかしなことをしでかさないと約束するのなら許可してもいい。
Mizuki's eyes widened and a grin crept across her face.
おかしなことって例えばこういう
What? She moved faster than my eyes could see. Suddenly, she had my arm and was pulling me in close. And then, before I knew it, I was feeling a continuous warm and squishy sensation on my cheek.
お熱いこと。
Like Aiko can say anything.
すごいなあ。最近の女子ってほっぺにチューの禁
You
止
know,
くらい
Mare,
普
you
通
really
の
don't
こと
know
なの？
anything, do you?
さやか？
さやかちゃんたら刺激の強い場面を目撃して言葉が出ないのかしらね。メロハーンも飛び出さないなんて本当にショックなのね。
Oh,
かわいそう。
Aiko just keeps prodding a little bit more and more.
それにしてもあなたたちはいつまでそうしているのかしら。
This is around when I finally came back to my senses. Instead of just a simple peck on the cheek, Mizuki had been sucking my skin the entire time. Ugh! No! And now that this realization had finally dawned on me, I immediately pushed her away.
何をしているの？離れて。
This is gross. Oh no. No.
何をするの？さえのきさんのほっぺ美味しそうだったから味見。
Really? Really? Finally distanced from my cheek, she glared ferociously at me, seemingly sizing me up to determine whether or not I was worthy of remaining in her establishment. Evidently, I'd passed the test, as she finally raised her arm into the air and snapped her fingers, signaling to her butler.
バルド持ってきて。
かしこまりました。
On Mizuki's command, the butler-cum-server arrived with a literal wagon of sweets. Mizuki stood up, smiling gleefully, as various plates and teacups were neatly, almost ceremoniously placed in front of each of us.
うわあ、美味しそう。もういいかな？食べていいかな？俺は限界なんだけど。
どうぞ召し上がれ。カフェホルタースのスイーツは皆様に極上のひとときを提供するわよ。
いただきます。
Sweet! Inomaru wasted no time digging into dish after dish, barely stopping to chew his food before shoveling another forkful into his mouth. Possessed or no, it was a terrifying sight to behold. You gotta savor the sweetness. You know, you can't just freaking devour it.
うまいよみずきさん。
お口に合ったようで他のみんなもさあ食べて食べて。さえのきさんには特別に私の手で食べさせてあげようか。結構よ。遠慮しないでよ。親友同士ならそれくらい普通にやるものでしょ。
What happened to the whole, like, not trying to get under people's skin thing?
そもそも前提がおかしいわ。一体いつ誰があなたと親友になったのよ。
まあ、なほちゃんったらまた親友候補を作ったの？モテるのね。親友の一人としては心配だわ。
愛子、あなたとも親友になったつもりはないわよ。
She's making all the best friends.
照れ隠しが上手なのね、なほちゃんったら。
別に照れてなんか。ああ、そっか。さえのきさんのそういう態度って照れ隠しなんだ。ポーカーフェイスだからわかんなかったわ。ああ、もう否定するのも面倒になってきた。
I had a splitting headache at this point, and I could think of no better cure for it than vast quantities of sugar. I took my knife and fork and cut off a big piece of my banana omelet, shoving it into my mouth and, well, swishing it around a little to savor it. Is it good?
すごい。こんなに美味しいスイーツ初めてかもしれない。
The sweetness of the soft sponge cake and the richness of the cream melted together in my mouth to create a veritable symphony of flavor. And mixed in with it was the bittersweet banana itself, the crown atop this royal treat.
どうしよう。手が止まらない。でしょ?
Surprisingly, Mizuki's expression has changed from something altogether more innocent than before as she delightedly ingested spoonfuls of sweet confection. Here was her parfait topped with a cavalcade of grapes.
我ながら美味しい。マガリちゃん、天才。
Why are you a genius?
あなたが作ったわけじゃないでしょ。
I held my tongue. Better not stir the pot right now. To keep me quiet, I shoveled another piece of omelet into my mouth.
本当に美味しい。
What if it's possessed with some evil spell that makes you just crave it for the rest of your life? My dessert was basically flawless. And though I was very, very full, I just couldn't stop going back for more.
こういうのも一回くらいは悪くないかもね。お茶とスイーツをお供にして友達と放課後を過ごすの新鮮だわ。私いっつも一緒にいるのはバルトだけだから。そう楽しいからこの席はおごってあげる。
Oh, wow.
みんなどんどん食べてね。
I mean, you know that Inumaru bought like 2 pages worth of sweets, right?
ごちそうさま。
それじゃあお言葉に甘えて。
Is she gonna get more stuff? I have to admit, this caught me off guard. I never expected someone like Mizuki to be so amiable. I forked another omelet piece into my mouth, feeling cautiously triumphant. Soon enough, I was not only beyond sated, but happy as well. Looking around, the others seemed to be in high spirits as well, except for Sayaka, who still hadn't even picked up her fork.
さやか、どうしたの？納得いかない。
What?
なほちゃんの一番の親友は
Oh,
私だよ
Sayaka.
ね。
Just eat your sweets.
ええ。
Startled by the question, I made the mistake of hesitating in my answer. It wasn't a lie. All anyone had to do was watch the two of us in action, and it was obvious we were as close as friends could be. But Sayaka saw my hesitation as a clear indicator that I was lying. She took it as an implied no, and her self-confidence suddenly fell through the floor.
一番じゃなかったら私なほちゃんの何番目なのかな。
Number 0. That's how high you are.
違うのさやか、誤解しないで。もちろん私の一番の親友はさやかよ。そうに決まってるじゃない。本当？本当よ。だからほら泣かないで。泣いてないもん。
Totally not crying. Mm-mm. I guess she got me there. She wasn't crying, but she looked like a volcano about to erupt. She continued to study my expression for a while, with her vaguely watery saucer eyes.
次のオフは一緒に猫カフェに行ってくれる？あ、もちろん。そんなことでよければいくらでも。猫カフェに行く前にお揃いの服を買ってその場で着てくれる？
They're so specific in their needs, aren't they?
あ、ペアルックで遊んでくれるよね。一番の親友だもんね。人目につかないところならなんとか可能かもしれないけど猫カフェはちょっとお揃い嫌なんだ。そんなことないわ。
Oh my god. You guys are wearing school outfits. That's you're matching. You're good.
ペアルックもたまにはいいかもしれないしね。あと愛子さんにやって
Oh my god, Sayaka.
あ
Sayaka!
ーちょ
Stop!
っとやってくれる？
This time, I was kind of at a loss for
猫
words.
カフェなんて人目の多いところでペアルックでさらに何？どういうこと？愛子さんがさえのきさんにあんしたの？
そうね。ここに来る前に教室でそんなこともした気がするけれ
Aiko's
ど。
already moved on.
でももう済んだ話だと思っていたわ。さやかちゃんたらそんなに根に持たなくたっていいのに。
愛子さんがやったんなら私も
Oh
あん
my
し
god.
たい。
Seriously?
さやか
Everybody's fighting for
ちょっ
Naho.
と口開けて。
Everybody. Well, besides Inomaru.
ダメ。これ以上なほちゃんにちょっかい出そうって言うなら私を倒してからにして。いいの？待って、話がややこしくなるからさやか以外は黙っていてもらえると助かるんだけど。
Sayaka and Mizuki looked like they were about to face off in an epic combat, so I decided enough was enough and stepped in to put a stop to it. And in doing so, I realized that the other customers in the establishment had fallen silent as well, and were all staring at us. That wasn't as much of a surprise as it probably should have been though, given how loud we were being.
さやか、少し落ち着きましょうね。落ち着いてるよ。いいえ、今あなたは頭に血が上っている。ケーキでも食べて落ち
Is
着
she
いて。
gonna defeat Sayaka?
ほら、美味しそうじゃない。
I tried to divert her focus to one of the chiffon cakes we'd received, but Sayaka just kept her gaze firmly glued to mine. Then, she leaned in toward me, the spark of an idea flashing across her
なん
face.
だ嫌なら水木さんみたいにほっぺチューがしたい。ね、なほちゃん、していいでしょ？
What am I playing? Sayaka approached me quickly, and I instinctively shrank back into my chair a bit.
さやか、お願いだから落ち着いて。落ち着いてる。なほたんのほっぺは私が消毒してあげる。何それ、聞き捨てならないわね。私の唇にケチつけるの？あんたにもチューするわよ。私はなほたん以外とはチューしないもん。だからなほたんも私
Oh
以
my
外とはダメ。
god. Corpse party, sometimes you go completely to left field.
さやか、そういうことは大声で叫ばないで。だって
ならこうしましょう。全員がなほちゃんにあんをしてほっぺにキスをすればいいのよ。
Aiko, I don't think you're helping.
そうすれば不公平じゃなくなるでしょ。
何言い出すのよ、愛子。そうですよ、愛子さん。それじゃ意味ないです。
でもさやかちゃん、よく考えてみて。あなたが今悲しい思いをしているのは私やマガリさんがナホちゃんにちょっかいを出したのにあなただけが出せていないことが原因でしょ。
そうですけど。
でもね、 私もマガリさんだけがナホちゃんにキスをしているのはどうかと思うし、マ
Seriously,
ガリ
guys?
さんもナホちゃんにあんがしたいはずなのよ。だから全員がナホちゃんにやっていないことを行って、ひとまず不公平
Maybe I should have gone back to the
感
main
を持ってもい
story
い
of Course Party.
そうしたらナホちゃんに特別なことをしたっていう立ち位置の人がいなくなって平和が訪れるはずよ。
そっか。私は血みどろコスミクの争いを繰り広げてもいいんだけど。
Yeah, she won't kill you.
でもマガリさん、友人同士は時にこうやってお互いが譲歩し合うことで絆が強くなるものらしいのよ。
そうなの？
This entire conversation was raising a lot of questions for me, and not just the obvious ones. Mizuki barely even seemed to know what the word compromise meant. And Aiko seemed to be basing her understanding of it entirely on hearsay. Was it really possible that neither of them had ever actually compromised on something before?
どんな生活を送ってきたのよ。
No.
だからさやかちゃん、あなたはナホちゃんにあんをしてほっぺにキスをしてもいいわ。その代わり私もナホちゃんのほっぺにキスをするわね。そしてマガリさんはナホちゃんにあんをする。これで全員平等、一見落着ね。
なんでそうなるのよ。仕方ないな。
Really?
今日は友達記念日ってことで特別だよ。わかった。私は
Naho
愛子
has
さんの意
no
見
say
に
on
乗
this
る。
whatsoever.
さやかまでみんなナホちゃんの特別になりたいけど我慢してるんだもんね。大丈夫、私も我慢できるよ。さやか、聞いてる？それじゃあナホタン、よろしくお願いします。
Oh my god. Sayaka stood up from her seat and grasped my shoulders with both hands. She had a serious, solemn look in her eyes.
さやか、まずはほっぺチューするね。その後あんしよう。
次は私の番ね。さやかちゃんの後ろに並んでおこ
They're
うか
seriously
し
gonna
ら。
make a line?
私も。後が使えてるんだから、さやかは早くしてよね。
Aiko and Mizuki rose from their seats and queued up behind Sayaka. The actual other customers looked very uncomfortable. They were half watching, half intentionally averting their eyes, and seemingly uncertain which approach was more proper.
いただきます。
Sayaka's face slowly approached mine. It was only a kiss on the cheek, but her expression was that of a microsurgeon focusing on the patient. It made me extremely, inexplicably nervous.
待って、私にも心の準備が。
But I wasn't gonna get any. Sayaka was about to bring it in for a landing, and there was no stopping her now.
来るなら来い。
Like a warrior preparing to go into battle, I tightly closed my eyes and awaited my destiny.
あ、
Inumaru's sudden, unexpected exclamation caused me to jump. Exclamation caused me to jump, and seemed to pause Sayaka's advance as well. When I opened my eyes, I could see that Sayaka was not at all happy with her childhood friend.
なによ犬丸、今いいところなのに。助かった。
I breathed a breathless sigh of relief and turned to face Inumaru. He'd been eating his mountain of sweets in silence this whole time, but was now pointing outside the window.
あそこ。
What? We each followed his finger to the sky. Dyed with the setting sun, the heavens above were a beautiful shade of crimson-infused purple. And there, right where he was pointing, we could see a small distortion in the air.
あれは。
うん。スイーツが美味しかったみたいで、成仏するって。
Oh, that's nice. We'd completely forgotten about the spirit girl with the weak aura. She'd had an enormous grin on her face and met our gazes with a courteous bow, then disappeared into the sunset. Bye! As we left the cafe, the sun was only just peeking out over the distant horizon, growing smaller and dimmer by the moment. We never did find out which particular confection was the one that brought eternal rest to the little girl, but that also wasn't important. All that mattered was that she'd moved
そ
on.
れじゃあ水木さん、今日はごちそうさま。どれもとっても美味しかった。どういたしまして。
お腹いっぱいになったわ。こんなに甘いものばかり食べたら私もプニプニお腹になっちゃうかしら。
しばらく甘いものは控えなくちゃかも。
でもまた食べたくなるくらい美味しかったよ。
予約は1年きっかり埋まってるから、すぐの来店は無理でしょうね。
True, yeah.
そんな、あの子が成仏しちゃうくらい美味しいお店なのに。そんなに褒められると悪い気しないな。私の権力で予約をねじ込んであげてもいいよ。
Wow,
本当？
that'd be awesome.
その代わり、はいチーズ。
Mizuki's phone produced a sudden flash, and before I knew it, my picture had been taken.
何？どういうつもり？今日の記念よ。いいでしょ？
She spun her phone around to show me the screen, and my face instantly turned red hot. It was a candid shot of me reacting to the sudden flash with a look of total confusion on my face, and it was apparently now her
こ
wallpaper.
んな間抜け顔。ああ、ずるい。なほたん、私も撮らせて。充電切れてる。
Aww.
さやかついてない。
Magari, now's not the time for crazy laughter.
いいもん、明日にするから。
でも今日の思い出は今日しか残せないものよ。
So that's why they took the picture with the three of them.
さやか、代わりに俺の携帯で撮っておこうか。もちろん俺の携帯はさやかしか映さないから撮影対象はさやかだけど。
Pretty sure that's not how phones work.
それじゃ意味ないでしょ。
そんなことないよ。俺が幸せになるよ。
あんたの幸せなんてどうでもいいし。
冷たい。
もう肝心な時になんて。
She put away her phone in disappointment, defeated and forlorn. This seemed to have been an oddly rough day for her.
これ以上水木さんといたらさやかによくなさそうね。それじゃあそろそろ帰りましょう。水木さん、またね。バイバイ。
Oh, Magari. Mizuki waved her hand in an exaggerated motion, then slinked back into the cafe.
なんだかどっと疲れたわ。同じく。
そう？俺は放課後をさやかと過ごせてとっても楽しかったけどな。
犬はお気楽でいいわよね。
Sayaka silently implied "I'm done with you" elicited a wry smile from me. She was clearly too tired to care how her words came across. I actually felt kind of bad from Inumaru. I couldn't help approaching appreciating Sayaka's current state of mind. Maybe we're just a tad more simpatico than I'd given us credit for.
私も結構楽しかったのだけど、なほちゃんとさやかちゃんは違うのね。残念だわ。
へえ、新しいレイグを手に入れたわけでもないのに楽しかったの？
悪くはなかったわ。低級霊がいたり、マガリさんに引っかき回されたこともあったけど親しい人たちとお茶をして放課後を過ごすのは初めてだったもの。
愛子さん、こういう風に放課後を過ごしたこと
Apparently, two people
なかっ
had
たんですか？
friendship time today.
ええ、そうなの。
でも愛子さん、そんなに美少女なのにどうして？
Sayaka's compliment was met with a slight smile. Though it could have been easily just a pained smile, for all I know, since I'm sure this was dredging up some memories Aiko would have rather not thought about. Sayaka's comment definitely... Why can't I read all of a sudden? Definitely came across from a place of pure innocence. However, in her mind, cute girls always drink tea and spend time with their friends after school. It's only natural.
私は普段情報収集で忙しいから、放課後こうして遊ぼうとすることがそもそもないのよ。 それに霊が見えない一般人と積極的に関わる気も起きないし。
Sayaka stopped dead in her tracks. This seemed to shock her a lot more than it should have. Her expression was almost cartoonish. Aiko looked back at her quizzically, tilting her head a bit.
あら、そんなにおかしなことを言ったかしら。
わかりました、愛子さん。私たち、今日から友達です。
え？
ねえ、なほちゃん、いいでしょ？愛子さんは私たちの友達。まあ。
Given my long, turbulent history with Aiko, I wasn't really sold on the idea of counting her among my friends now. And my response wasn't exactly brimming with positivity, but I was kind of put on the spot, so I think it was as fair as a response as could be expected. I didn't want to upset Sayaka after all, but the question was, how would Aiko react to this?
私がなほちゃんやさやかちゃんと友達になるの？
はい。ダメですか？
でも私、ご存知の通りとても性格が悪いのよ。
さやかがいいって言ってるんだから、いいんじゃないの？
Yeah, everybody be friends, why not?
友達だと思えば、もう少し私たちに対するあなたの態度も変わるかもしれないし。
それはどうかしら。
A decidedly dubious statement to make, but she didn't seem even to realize how it might have come across.
私とあなたたちが友達ね。くすぐったいわね。友達。
Aiko, stop.
友達ってそう何度も連呼しないで。恥ずかしいでしょ。
はいはい。俺もここにいるよ。
Nah, you don't matter.
これは女同士の友情なんだから、男はお呼びじゃないの。
つまりさやかは俺に女の子の友達がいたら焼いてしまうから、丹羽さんとは知事以上にはなるなと、そう言いたいんだね。
He is amazingly talented at twisting things to make them look completely different than what they actually are.
ほんとあんたってうざい。
やわっ
Sayaka's explosive punches were flying pretty furiously today, it seemed. Staring down the now KO'd Inumaru, she suddenly lit up with the brightest smile I'd seen from her since leaving the cafe.
さて、ここで提案があります。今日の記念にみんなでプリシャを取るっていうのはどうでしょう？
Along a bustling street nearby, we found an arcade with a nice, shiny row of sticker photo booths inside. I suspect that Sayaka may have chosen this particular arcade for a very specific reason. However, as there was a large sign by the door which read, "No men allowed."
男子禁制だからここで待ってて。
There's arcades where men aren't allowed?
いや、ちょっと待って、よく見ようよ。女性が一緒の場合は男性も立ち入り OK ですって、ほら、ここに書いてあるよ。
じゃあ、なほちゃん、あいこさん、行こうか。
Completely blew him off. We left Inumaru at the entrance, despite his attempts to follow us inside, and we headed straight for the sticker photo
ちょっ
booths.
とかわいそうじゃない？いいの。犬丸も入れてプリシャなんて取ったら何に使われるか分かったもんじゃないもの。一理あるわね。
Aiko provided no argument either, so we all just shrugged off Inumaru's misfortune. I then stepped up into one of the few booths that was unoccupied, signaling the other two to
これ
follow.
で取ろうか。あいこさん、こっちです。入ってきてください。
随分と眩しいのね。
Aiko was mesmerized by the booth, squinting as she looked over the lights along the
あ
screen.
いこさん、プリシャは初めてですか？
ええ。知識としては理解しているつもりだけれど。
Functionality of a picture?
じゃあ、注意事項を一つ。映るときはモニターじゃなくて上にあるカメラに目線を合わせてくださいね。
わかったわ。
Aiko nodded, though her movement felt calculated and stiff. She was clearly very nervous.
そういえば、私も初めてプリシャを取ったのはさやかとだっけ。最初は緊張するのよね。綺麗に撮れたら友達記念って書きましょうね。 なほちゃんとも初めて会った時はそう書いたんですよ。ね、なほたん。ええ。
そうなの。
Aiko's quick response felt hollow and forced. She was still stiff as a board, like her spirit had been left behind somewhere. It's kind of cute to see Aiko like out of her element. In a way, her awkward hesitation had a certain charm to it. It proved that she was being genuine, that she was
せっ
human.
かくですし、3人で抱き合ったりとかして映りませんか？
ええ。
背景はどうしようか。なほたんのお好みで。了解。
I made a few quick selections, then the background behind Aiko changed. She must not have known about that part. It was actually kind of funny.
それじゃあ撮るよ。愛子さん、早く、もっとこっち。
3, 2, 1. Aww. After several flashes and clicks, an image of us was displayed on the monitor. In it, Sayaka and I were hugging, but Aiko was standing behind us with a furtive look in her eyes.
愛子さん、なんで抱きついてくれなかったんですか？
あ、そうだったわね。
Oh,
うっ
Aiko.
かりしていたわ。
緊張したんでしょう。
そういうわけじゃないのよ。
Aiko's mouth said no, but her blood-red cheeks said otherwise. This was the first time I'd ever seen Aiko
も
flustered.
う一回撮り直しましょうか？
いいえ、これでいいわ。等身大の私たちという感じで面白いじゃない？
Aiko touched the monitor with her finger and laughed.
じゃあ、今日はこれくらいにしておきましょうか。水木さん、これを見たら悔しがるかな？
Oh, I'm sure.
それが目的だったの？
She's got Naho's like as a
あくまで目的
screenshot
は
or
愛子さんと
screensaver
友
though.
達になった記念を。
Sayaka spun gleefully in place and held one hand out to Aiko.
愛子さんとは最初の出会いがあまり良くなかったけど、でも根はそんなに悪い人じゃないと思うから、これからいい友達になってくれたら嬉しいです。この子のこういうところが好き。
Aww. I'd always had the tendency to either be way too blunt or way too familiar with people, bringing them down to my level without even realizing it. But on numerous occasions, I truly felt like Sayaka had saved me from myself.
よろしくね、さやかちゃん。それから、なほちゃんも。
Aiko shook hands with Sayaka and smiled at me,
よろしく。
cold and blunt, as usual. But I could feel the red spreading across my face, and I was certain Sayaka and Aiko knew how I felt, regardless. Naho's face turning red, and Sayaka smiling gleefully. Two beautiful, endlessly expressive images, gone forever.
夢のような一日だったわ。
The funny thing is, nothing of note had really even happened. We just ate a whole lot of sweets, talked for a long time, and took sticker photos. All told, we'd only spent a few hours with each other. Just a few wild hours, messing around after school one day.
だけど、もう二度とあの時間は戻ってこない。
Yeah, they're gone. Naho and Sayaka were now dead, and their deaths triggered an intense despair, hatred, and sheer insanity within Haruyuki, all of which was directed squarely at me.
あの日は確かに笑い合っていたのに。
Where had things gone wrong? Somewhere along the line, somebody must have made some kind of mistake.
私の
But who? Sorry, it said that.
許さない、許さない、絶対に許さない。
I had to apologize. Both to the girls who'd already died and the person who had gone mad right in front of my eyes. I couldn't even get the whole word out. The sheer depths of his rage bore into my skull, and out I went, like a light. Okay, so that's the end of that chapter. It was pretty long. If I did it in one episode, it would have been absolutely crazy. But I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we got it out of the way. And now we'll be able to see what's going to happen in the main story. Remember, the world's gone to crap. It's essentially ended and everybody's died, except for Shinozaki. So I have no idea what's going to happen, but we will find out in the next video, so stay tuned for that. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed. We'll see you guys on the next MAMJ. Let's go.
私とデートしましょう。
A ticket was handed to me, presented with a certain flair that suggested it might have been something special.
ホルスター
That was the name, and the ticket also bore the date, as well as a 5:30 p.m. timestamp. What? Sayaka clearly recognized the significance of what I'd just been handed.
駅前の予約だけで1年待ちって評判の
Oh snap!
ホルタ